The notion of playing politics is we owe to the middle of the the middle of the 19th century, about 1863. If one were to say Indira Gandhi was famous for gaming the system, to use the sort of Hillary Clintonism. We would say the same thing as in 1863 would be said by playing politics in this connection, I believe, in connection to the rise of the notion of manipulation. So Carlyle has framed the modern notion of manipulation and given the old word, which had primarily the meaning of physical manipulation, like hydraulic mining, for instance, the new meaning of some kind of changing of one's view, but not by means of persuasion and not necessarily by conscious means. Manipulation, political manipulation, playing politics. So I think it's very important when we try to address Heidegger or say to alleviate the difficulties that separate us from thinking Heidegger, to think how rapidly this meaning has slipped away from us. So that Aristotle's old meaning, the art of politica as the art of governing well, the art of governing a city well, or it's kind of confusing because I don't know, the art of governing a country well, provided the country is only the size of Estonia or smaller, I guess. I guess about the size of Estonia. That's about the size of Athens at its height, probably. Something like that, 1.3 million. I don't know how big it is exactly. That's interesting. So if a polis could be, and there's like 1,500 polises as large as Estonia, and you have a Kaya Kalis in each one, God forbid, then, well, I don't want to actually take sides on that totally. Maybe Kaya Kalis does some things that are good. I don't know. There's allegements now. I can't help but think of it, and I don't know what position to take there exactly. I mean, from one point of view, you have a war, hypermania, which could affect all of us, even in California, if it's a World War III. So in a way, we should take a position, right? You have these allegements for people that are relatively sane, like Jeffrey Sachs and the people that he sort of invites into his ambit from the EU world. They had some German on in one of the recent ones on that. The guy calls himself Neutrality Studies Podcast, and it seems to me he's probably Russian funded. But the host, Jeffrey Sachs, who's almost hardly ever mentioned by RT type media spin-offs, but who is totally on the side of something that would be better for Putin than the current war hysteria, so-called, again, for drumming up the Merz thing, the frenemies thing. How did Merz say that? We're not at war, but we're no longer at peace. The frenemies thing. This situation, obviously, it would be better. The people that see it that way are the same people as that think Putin, Orban, and Trump, the ultimate axis of evil. That's one view. So that's like the Euro view, and to which Ursula and Rutte and Donald Tusk and or is it Tusk? Donald Tusk, I think I should say. Sounds a bit German though. Yeah, there's tight connections in some way between Poland and Germany. In fact, I think this is there's something. Uh, I mean, Poland hates Hungary much more than it hates Germany. I'll put it that way. They somehow have tight links between Poland and Germany. Um, but let's not dwell on the deeper reasons for that. Um, you have that group, then you have the Sachs type group, which is sort of like intermediary, saying like, well, full out hate of the other group isn't really necessary. Let's just look at this thing from the point of view of geopolitical sanity or something like that. They're the diplomatic core. You get that view, and then you have sort of the view, the RT view, the Russia view. The West is Satan, and yeah, we could be peaceful, but they won't be peaceful, so we can't be peaceful. We could not hate them, but if we don't hate them, they will hate us. And when one hates another group, one wants to exterminate them from the face of the earth, obliterate them utterly. So if the enemy, all the time the calculation Moscow has to make is the enemy trying to exterminate us, then of course it's going to have the opposite view. So I think that's just a phenomenology of the direct situation. They've got a bunch of people in the European Union who hate these three figures. Then you have those three figures as they face out to the world, and some of them claiming, oh no, we're okay to just be Hungary and not just have our little sovereignty. But there's one problem. This global market system that says all that matters is Maslow pyramid. All that matters is good wage. That leaves out this. It's not that it leaves out the deep soul or the deep Russian or the Tolstoy or something. No, it's that it leaves out the national sovereignty and the ethnic qualms and the whole anthropological problem. Yeah, so it's as though there's a choice between ideologies, which, however, is so deep that it's caused this red line dilemma, as Habermas has described it. And now, how is one meant to select out of this situation the sane way to move forward? Because if there is on the one side some actions like the allegements of the stealing of the children from Ukraine or whatever, if there's some actions that are so heinous that they must be regarded as evil, then what can you do? And then on the other side, if you're Russian and you see deliberate destruction of the Russian economy and theft of its wealth through the Cyprus banks to the London banking centers at the beginning of the 90s, leading into the most punishing period of Russian history, and that it was done deliberately by the Americans who, after deflating the Warsaw Pact, deflating the Soviet Union, retained what was supposed to be at the same time go away, which would be NATO, because it was supposed to be NATO, Warsaw Pact, or NATO, Soviet Union, and then both could go away. But instead, one security apparatus stays and the other one goes away. That's kind of, I think, how Russians rationally see the buildup against them, and it's not at all crazy. Um, Atlantic Council view, Matthew Croinish view. It's a very mainstream geopolitical tack, and it sort of has, I think, Trump in its heavy gravity, even though Trump wants to play around with some tariff madness. Yeah, so I think this, we have this, there's a good place to sort of take a measure of things by seeing it through those criteria, which include, here's the attitude of the actual main leaders involved. Here's the fact that they have one view, some other people have another view, then there's the consciousness of a third view. And then I suppose I guess I would say if we ask, but how much, see, this is my question, how much power does the press and the mere fact of the existence of this, like, Jeffrey Sachs view matter? I mean, of course, the press is mostly, or, the media is mostly on the side of the NATO bloc. But it's not the same. It's everything the press in the West has is not the same as Radio Free Europe, right? It has a different tack. And there's different splits within it. It's not unified. How powerful is the press, but then also including this sort of view that the two camps that hate one another also see this Jeffrey Sachs view hoisting up between them? I tend to think the media probably mostly matters less, because I think they've already when somebody's the age of Ursula von der Leyen or Merz or Rutte, there's not really going to change your mind. Nothing's going to change your mind, unless it's like you're going to lose your job or something. Unless it's something direct. Even then, they're kind of set in their ways, okay? So I think, taken that way, I kind of think, so I don't see how we could avoid, so it is kind of the Bergson thing. So I think we're in the Bergson moment, taking this, register it this way, if this analysis is correct, then we're in a Bergson moment where, without any particular clamor, this so-called frenemy or Merz zone is we're not at war, but we're no longer at peace, must be taken to mean World War III. It must be taken to be total conflict. And then it's heating up in the so-called hybrid wars already in the online, and then the AI will be the nuclear weapon of this new conflict, I would say. It's a thing that somebody will get there first, and then they'll start exploding the whole thing for the other side and forcing surrender.